Okay.
Welcome to Cerpo in 4K. So what we're doing today is Death Stranding, and right now I'm running some morphine down to the President's headquarters here. I'm trying to remember how to run faster. I don't remember how to do it. Oh, here we go.
Check the map on your cufflinks if you're lost, Sam. The isolation word should be pretty obvious. If you're not sure how to get there, you can set markers and draw routes too. Try it out and you'll see what I mean.
Anybody home?
Alright, so where I'm heading is right down here. I don't really need a marker to get there, so I'm just gonna go. What is going on with the block?
Sam, if you want to confirm you're headed the right way, check your compass.
Well, guys, that was weird. I don't know what that was.
Provided you have a destination, that is.
Why is it every time I run? Press enter. Oh no, don't tell me this is gonna happen every time. What is this? Let's disconnect my controller and let's see if we can't get that fixed. That's a little ridiculous. There we go. Okay, good.
Central wasn't just home to Bridges HQ. It was also.
So let's go ahead and get this morphine down over here.
If the president hadn't required special treatment, she would have never left. And if she hadn't, we wouldn't have either.
So how does this sound? Pretty good? Okay.
Like I said, her vital signs are all trending the same way.
No chance of a recovery then?
None that I can see. No.
We should start making preparations.
Sam, it's me, Dead Man. Sorry, my mistake. I'm afraid the president's condition has deteriorated. Thank you. This will help to ease the pain. And allow her to speak with you in these final moments.
Huh?
The first and last female president of the United States. Surely you remember her. She raised you? You're not exactly dressed for a reunion. Take that off before you come inside.
Okay, going over how I did. Pretty easy task, you know, to complete. Run down the road. You know, the game's obviously gonna get a lot better here pretty shortly. Alright, let's get a little bit of upgrade on some of this stuff. Alright, that's good enough for me to see.
That's the president's right-hand man, the director of bridges.
Die Hardman?
Oh, you were with Bridges 1? So, I guess no introductions are necessary.
What's it been, Sam? 10 years? Look at us. A bunch of deathless freaks meeting like this. Yeah, well, good to see you two. President's waiting. It's your mother, Bridget. She's a bit out of it, but I know she'll recognize you.
Madam President, we've brought Sam. We'll leave you two alone.
Sam, I knew you'd come back. Are you doing all right? Yeah, I know you hate me. Amelie.
Amelie?
You remember Amelie went west. Took her 3 years to cross. She's trying to rebuild the country.
Still going on about that, huh?
You're the one I wanted to send, Sam. Time's running out. Help Amelie. She needs you. Together, you can help us reconnect. You can make America whole. Sam, if we don't all come together again, humanity will not survive.
We don't need a country. Not anymore.
We do. Alone, we have no future.
No, America's finished. Bridget, you're the president of jack shit.
Sam, listen to me. Please. So you are willing to help me?
No, I
love you, Sam. I'll be waiting for you on the beach.
Madam President! Oh, no.
Doctor, we need your help.
All hands on deck here. Season B-5, give me 150 cc's.
She's not responding.
Stay with me.
She's
not responding.
Alright, here we go. Alright, here we go. That should be better. Whoa, what was that? Okay. So what we're gonna be looking at today is the woke nation. The woke nation that nobody understands. That's one badass room right there. I want to see if I can get this microphone sound a little better. Does that sound better? I don't know. Sounds kind of scratchy to me. But you know, let's just do something real quick. Can we get some viewers on?
If word gets out, the bridge is finished. Now, what happened here does not leave this room. Do you understand?
Yes, Director. But there's still
All
the matter of
right. So, here's what we're going to be going after.
We've got that
We're going to be going after what is woke? What is this? What are we doing? Whatever happened to just the basics? Biology states that
before she died,
males have 30 kilograms.
What are you talking about?
Kilograms
as a member of Bridges,
bone,
you're going to work
bone,
with the rest
muscle,
of us to
muscle
rebuild
density.
America.
You
A
think you can
female
afford
has
it?
22. And it's in different parts of the
Look at your
body, and the hips, and so
symbolic.
forth. So
I don't know what is.
to
Director,
compare
these
these two people and say that
harvesting organs is out of the question.
transvestites can go and compete in sports, things like this. This is
if we don't, this place will turn into another freedom.
really absurd.
What do you want me to do?
It really is.
We don't have any orders right now.
I don't know.
And the CD team you went into the field with are dead.
I can't
The
put it
president's body
together.
has to be burned.
It is
The road from Capital Knot City to the incinerator
I don't
is
know.
compromised in the void out. And the only way there is on foot,
crazy.
through the mountains.
It's absolutely
The
nuts.
chiral density there is off the chart. It's got to be BTs.
I'm trying to make a little adjustment
Patriot.
so we can get some good
Why?
good volume here.
You're already on the clock.
That sounds scratchy.
Now get it
You
done.
know, but
Sam, order Bridges.
it's the best it's gonna get. Yeah. So we're gonna go with this. Anyway. So let's look at some videos and let's see what's really going on. Now I don't know why. That's in the background. That don't need to be there. What needed to be there is the YouTube, which I already did. Okay, so Joe Rogan should be right there.
Talk rabbit hole yesterday.
Yeah, it's good.
And he's
The Joe Rogan Experience.
He's not. Okay, well he just was. Give me one second. Let me get this back. Somehow it OBS just likes to delete shit. I don't know why. Oh, that looks like me. I don't want me. Okay. What's going on? I just had it before I started this 30 minutes ago. Let's go media source. No, because I have to download it. No, I just want the window of this. Let's maybe drop it in here. Oh, this don't make any sense. All right, guys, bear with me. We're gonna get this. Oh yeah, we're gonna get this. Okay. So he's here now. Oh, I don't want him like that. All right. So there was a window. Let's do browser. And where did it go? Let's see what happens.
When I first considered therapy, I was really hesitant because I didn't want just any therapist. I wanted one that was going to understand me. So then I learned about BetterHelp's thorough online questionnaire that'll match you to one of their 25,000 licensed therapists. The whole experience felt so customized to me right from the beginning. They ended up choosing a therapist for me that I've now been seeing by video every week for the last 2.5 years. I could not recommend this more if you want to turn your life around in a better direction.
All right. That didn't work. Let's go with display capture. It's not showing the display. Okay. Now it is. So how can we blow this up? Okay, and then go like this. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna shrink it up. And then we're gonna expand it. Oh.
Yeah, that's what I realized. That something was going on. I didn't know what it was. A lot of it was anger, man.
Anger at what?
Okay, guys. So let's talk about really what's going on here. We're having a problem where I've seen pictures of girls that are 18 and they look perfectly proper, nice straight hair. They look like they could become doctors. And then we get to a point that I'm seeing stuff like let me pull something like this. Before college. Before college, woke pictures. And this is actually heartbreaking. It really is. Okay, let me show you just one example. Okay, do you see what I see here? I mean, shave the head. You got a tattoo on your forehead. Look at her before she went. I mean, she's beautiful. She's probably really smart. And look what kind of turned up. So I'm confused about this woke. I'm confused about like I said, the transgender sports. You know, when a swimmer can go and beat the world record and be 30 seconds ahead. That tells me that there's a huge advantage up in the upper strength. Especially if they went through puberty. And then changed after. So we really need to address this problem. And on top of that, we have transgender saying rights. But there was somebody that was in a prison, and in the prison they got I think it was three females pregnant, and I think even a guard. So this is it's almost like everything. It's almost like I could get canceled when I say this, but it's almost like religion. It attracts 90% good people. But then it has the other 10% that are evil. They're pure evil. They're molesting children and just which I think we should, if we have absolute proof, just line them up and just take them all out. Just firing squad. Just get it done with. I don't think that's curable. So you know, but let's look at something a little bit more. What I wanted to kind of address. I want to kind of address the media also and how they're pushing their agendas, and it's very nonchalant. And this is AV, and I want you to take a look and listen to what he has to say.
Jim Jeffries' producer contacted me and asked me to come on as a guest to his show. Now, I agreed with two conditions. One, there'll be no neo-Nazi or Nazi sympathizers on the same segment, because I don't want to be aligned to them and I don't want to give them any legitimacy or anything like that. Common sense. The second one was that they don't cut my answers from one question and put it to another. Now, to my horror, but not my surprise, they did exactly both. Both those things. But they went even further. They connected me to the Christchurch killer, to the terrorist.
The New Zealand shooter left behind a detailed record of his anti-immigrant, anti-Muslim rhetoric. And unfortunately, these days, this kind of intolerance is being tolerated in more places than you might think.
So it's important to remember that this was filmed a few months ago, and not in response to the Christchurch massacre, as they seem to be alluding here.
I was shocked to hear that the prick allegedly behind the Christchurch, New Zealand mass shootings is a white supremacist who grew up and was radicalised in Australia. So what is the situation down there? And what are the people who may have radicalised him saying?
White people like myself feel happy and safe around my culture, my people.
Sherman's a Nazi. You broke rule 1 in 20 seconds.
Cool.
And this anti-immigration fervour is uniting some strange groups. It turns out that the one thing that can bring together the alt-right and the Jew is their shared hatred of Muslims. Meet Jewish activist Avi Yemeni, a good Australian name.
Luckily, I'm not an idiot, and I knew what their plan was all along. Well, they flew me to Singapore, put me in a hotel for a couple of days there. What was I to expect? It was a setup. So what I did was, I got there and I secretly put my phones down to record the entire segment. Now, over the next few days, I'm going to release a bunch of little clips that are important that he specifically didn't add to the piece. We filmed for about an hour, and there's about 3 or 4 minutes where he's included little snippets. So in the next few days, I'm going to release little bits that are important that I think everyone needs to see. But if you're on my Patreon, you can see the entire hour. I'll upload it within the next week. Islamic immigration, cut it.
Now, what makes Avi suddenly feel so comfortable saying this shit out loud?
I always stand by my words, and I say it publicly, loudly, and proudly. I won't say in private something different than what I'll say in public.
I agree with that.
Which
I don't do the same thing.
To apologise,
I'll
I've
just
done
say
it.
whatever I'm going to say.
I might sound like a hippie.
That's just
Give
it.
anyone the right to tell anyone where they can and can't live.
When you import this culture, what do you think's going to happen? Australia's going to end up the same shithole that they came from, that they were escaping.
Watch how Jim Jeffries has edited this last clip to make me look like an ass. See what I really said.
What gives anyone the right to tell anyone where they can and can't live? Really? Like,
Borders,
I know borders,
yeah.
but wouldn't it just be nice if we got to a place in society where we had a utopia where we all just lived as
on a level, I agree.
You may say I'm a dreamer, but
I think most people, sensible people would agree with you in theory.
Yeah.
But in practice, it's not. It goes against human nature. It just doesn't work. You bloody scumbag, Jim. You see those rubbish edits through the entire segment. I don't even need to show you. You get my point. They put one answer to a different question. But today, what I really want to show you is how Jim Jeffries speaks about Islam, about their Prophet Muhammad, and about Muslims themselves when he thinks the cameras aren't rolling or when he knows he can cut it out. So Muhammad is considered the perfect man.
Right, yes.
Okay?
You can't draw a picture of it.
No, don't you dare, don't you dare. I've got enough death threats on me, brother.
There he is.
Jesus Christ.
There he is. He looks like a wobbly ghost.
He's finally going to understand Islam after this shit comes out. That's what you do, Jimmy, when you think no one's going to see it. Now, I don't actually have a problem if you draw Muhammad, to be honest. That's me. But people like you call me an Islamophobe because that riles up, that upsets, that, in your words, triggers the Muslim into violence. Now, I wonder when this goes far and wide, and help it, share it around, let the world see. I want to see if the leftists condemn Jim. And even more so, what I'm interested to see is the people that he is hell-bent on protecting, the people that he is fighting so hard to let into Australia and the US. Let's see how they react when they see him mock their prophet. You know what the punishment for blasphemy is, Jim? I wish you luck, brother. But it gets worse. Watch what he says when the cameras aren't rolling.
I'm not a big fan of Islam. I think that wearing a burqa is stupid and...
I mean, you hear this shit?
Islam or dingo?
Islam and dingo sneaky?
Yeah.
Probably both.
Probably both. Dangerous?
Right. Probably both.
Probably both.
The dingo ate the baby. It turned out it did eat the baby.
If it ate a bloody Muslim baby, it would have vomited.
It turned out... No, I don't actually agree with that
shit, isn't it? I'm only joking.
But that's not funny, you're talking about fucking killing kids. No, that's crossing a line, there's a fucking line.
We'll edit this bit out. I never look bad in these interviews.
He's right. Jim never looks bad in his own segments. He edits it perfectly. And 9 out of 10 times he wins. He makes people like me look bad. Like Jordan Peterson look bad. But today, I got you, brother. How's it feel? So that's all I'm saying to you is that...
We don't disagree on all...
Nah, mate. we don't agree. I never, ever, ever even joke about killing Muslims. So I'm going to ask you all at home, make sure to share this far and wide. Share it with everyone. Because Jim works with the establishment, he has the mainstream media, he has the platform, he has the numbers. But I have you. Share it around.
How do you feel about the idea that socialists who side with communists want me who fights for freedom to leave? What do you feel about that?
Well, let's not forget, like, socialism lead to communism.
We're here in Melbourne CBD where the local Hong Kong community are protesting, as they are around the world, for Hong Kong.
We just want everyone to know that we value democracy, like true freedom, and we value Australian like values.
You shouldn't talk to this man. He's an extreme right-wing, like Nazi. He's well known for being like extremely racist.
You're part of the Victorian Socialists. What are the Victorian Socialists doing here today?
I don't want to talk to you. You're like a racist. You're like an actual huge racist.
You know, I just came back from Hong Kong. I was at the
I think you should like not be here. I don't want. Can you stop like coming towards me? Like
you're the one that came up to us.
Welcome.
Mate, you're a racist. Look, mate. So what here exactly? What here are you supporting? Don't touch me. Don't touch me. So wait, as a socialist, you're saying you support...
Socialist, I'm an anti-fascist.
We're opposed to you as a fascist, Zionist, being at a rally, who opposes the struggles of ordinary people everywhere. We're opposed to that. We're opposed to you co-opting the movement in an anti-democratic way.
Have you been to Hong Kong?
No, I'm...
So in the street protests right now in Hong Kong, everybody says that they support Donald Trump. How do you feel about that?
No, they don't. That's a complete...
They fly the American flag. Some people even wear a MAGA hat.
How do you feel? They want me to leave. The socialists want me to leave. How do you feel about the idea that socialists who side with communists want me who fights for freedom to leave? What do you feel about that?
Well, let's not forget, like, socialism lead to communism. It's like socialism is a precursor to communism. So yeah, I would never trust a socialist. Never trust Bernie Sanders. Yeah, anyone that everyone wants to like force everyone to submit to a state and to live under like a tyranny.
You have connections to like Blair Cottrell. Who's like,
connections to what? To Blair Cottrell?
You guys work together.
No, I work for TR News.
You know what would be best for everyone? Why don't we trade in the self-loathing Australians?
I think I would have to look. I think I would have to look
freedom-loving,
more into
working Hong Kong people that are oppressed
Bernie Sanders
across the ocean. Yeah, why don't we just trade them in?
What he thinks.
Can you like leave? You're being like completely absurd.
I think he thinks utopia.
You walked up while I was interviewing.
I do support I support equal rights, like in democracy in places like all over the world, including Palestine. Like,
how do you feel about communism?
Love it. I'm a communist myself.
Beginning of this rally, we
co-opting this rally to like
to take a picture.
Further your like anti-Chinese interests.
Donald Trump don't trust China. China is asshole.
Further your like anti-Chinese interests.
Donald Trump don't trust China. China is asshole.
Further your like anti-Chinese interests.
China is asshole.
Anti-Chinese
asshole.
Hong Kongers are freedom-loving people, and Donald Trump, yeah, he's all about freedom. He's all about individual liberty and all about free speech and all that stuff.
Do you reckon the Hong Kongers are behind him?
Yes, Hong Kongers will love every Western country in the world, man. Britain, here in Australia, yeah, we all love freedom.
Do you reckon they like socialism?
Nah.
Can you just like leave?
Is it?
I just like.
You're the one that came up to me.
Just go.
You're the one that came up to me. Still don't understand why the socialists and Victorian socialists are here. I don't. Which part of this? Which part of the Hong Kong community supports Victorian socialism? Socialism? Who? No Hong Kongers support socialism. They support democracy, freedom, not socialism, not communism.
I would hope so.
We are a tiny news team here at TR.News, and we don't have big funding. We do not have the funding of communist China. We have nothing. We have you guys. That's it. So please go to TR.News/support to help us out. Love ya. You guys from the BBC? Yeah? Are you a reporter?
I'm a producer.
You're a producer. Can I ask why today they reported that there was 400 people here?
Where did you see that?
Online. So how many people are you going to report that were here?
I'm going to check.
How many people are you going to report are here?
Well, how many do you think are here?
A couple thousand, at least?
I thought about 1,500.
Okay. So you're going to report that?
Hundreds.
Here's the people.
All right. Do you understand why the community doesn't trust you guys? Were there hundreds of people there today?
Yes, exactly. There were hundreds of people there. Many hundreds of people. There were hundreds of people there.
At what point do you say thousands?
When there's
What they're fighting for.
Okay. In the BBC, every time I see that, it does say far right. It doesn't. Are you denying that you guys are reporting him as far right?
We haven't today, have we?
Okay.
You just looked yourself.
Okay, great. Mazel tov. You didn't report him as far right today. Do you deny that you call him far right?
I've never personally called him far right.
The BBC.
I've never personally called him far right.
So do you condemn those who publish articles?
I'm not going to condemn anyone for you. I'm telling
Not for
you.
me.
You're asking me the question.
I'm
telling
you to
you.
tell
I have
real
never
news.
personally called Tommy Robinson
Do you think he's
far
far
right.
right?
I've been following Tommy Robinson for a long time. I was at his court case in Luton when he was convicted for football disorder offences. Okay, so I've been around a long time looking at him. Okay? And all we've done today is report it factually and accurately.
Hundreds of people, Is he far right? The BBC continuously calls him far right.
It's not for me
which
to
is
judge.
synonymous. No,
It's not for me to judge
well,
what his politics
it's
are.
offensive because it is synonymous with white supremacists and neo-Nazis. Do you think Tommy Robinson is a white supremacist or neo-Nazi? Do you? The BBC.
My views on Tommy Robinson aren't important.
The BBC then.
You look at what we've reported. You look at what we've reported.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
You guys security.
I don't know exactly what's really going on.
What's that? Report fake news. All right, so today I just did go up to the BBC to challenge them on their continual reporting of Tommy Robinson as a far-right figure. Now, we know the real far-right hate Tommy. They hate anybody that talks as Tommy does, anyone that stands for what is right. But painting someone like that as far-right is synonymous with neo-Nazis and white supremacy. It is a way to smear them so that they believe the public won't follow them. It doesn't.
Now, that is totally true. We always label when they don't believe and they don't have an argument that now all of a sudden it's racism, it's white supremacy, it's Illuminati, it's some kind of far-fetched, way out there dream. And the problem with this is that it really cuts down the option to have communication. Nothing can be started. There can be no conversation started. And the reason for that is just nobody wants to open the door. They just want to be cowards. But these people are protesting and want all these special privileges, but they don't have a solution. We're going to look more into this. Let's continue more into this.
It doesn't work. And it's time that Organisations like the BBC are held to account or lose their public funding. Does everyone agree with that?
Yeah!
I was on my way here with the cameraman, and we decided to, cut a shortcut through the long way through the Antifa group. Do you know what the first thing they called me? Alright, let's take a vote. Do you reckon it was racist or Nazi first?
Nazi, so go away. Nazi, so go away. Nazi, so go away.
I'm a Nazi. Did you just call me a Nazi? How do you feel about the rape allegations of Hope Not Hate? Are you associated to them?
I need to move on.
Do you agree that the BBC is fake news or not?
Fake news is an absolute cheap label that has been manufactured to try and catch people's
yes or no
mindscapes, and it is absolutely now it's irrelevant, mate.
Yes
it's
or
irrelevant. No? There is no such thing.
As what?
You are fake news. You are fake news.
Let's oppose him everywhere he goes.
Do you have a problem with what the BBC have done?
Are you sure that some of the Antifa aren't undercover government operatives trying to provoke violence?
We know you're friends with Tommy Robinson. We've seen you on the internet.
I like Tommy.
Yeah.
I'm not going to deny that, but I got to
get footage of people who are against him and to try and cut it to make people look stupid.
No, I don't have to cut it to make him look stupid.
Doesn't have to cut it. Yeah.
Perhaps heard stuff or taken stuff.
If it becomes a flashpoint, we leave. But like for now, I just want to talk to people. I want to get people's perspectives.
The media are not interested in producing rational debate. The media only wants to get ratings, and hate and fear brings the ratings and sells newspapers and gets likes and views.
I know, a bit like hate against Tommy Robinson.
Well,
he's a fascist. And you like him? Is that what you just said?
You said he's a fascist.
You said you liked him.
I said I like him. I didn't say he's a fascist.
So you like a fascist?
John Sweeney calls him a woofter. Imagine Tommy did that. Imagine the outrage if Tommy had done that. This same group...
You keep calling him Tommy. What's his real name?
Stephen Laxey. There we go. All right. Is that better? Does that make you feel better? We'll call him Stephen. Will that make you engage in the conversation?
No. I'm definitely anti-racist.
I'm anti-racist too. We can agree on that one.
That's cool.
What does fascism mean?
Well, it's kind of like inflicting, trying to rid a country of a population, maybe of religion or colour or anything like that.
Is that what fascism means?
Well, it's part of what fascism means.
What does fascism mean? You use it a lot. No, you're using it a lot.
You tell us.
Yeah.
You tell us.
Well,
you don't know what fascism means, do you?
Of course I do, yeah.
What does it mean?
Tommy Robinson doesn't like...
What does fascism mean?
You don't like Muslim people.
What does fascism mean?
See, you don't like Muslim people. I mean, that was the response.
Call me a fascist or Tommy a fascist, yet she cannot give you the definition of fascism.
You judge people by their race, their religion, their culture.
No, I don't. By their values. What are we doing here today?
What's all right? What are you telling me? Don't talk to him. Yeah. Why? Far right. Far right. Oh my! Don't speak to him.
I'm just asking questions. Would you like to talk to me?
Yeah, I'll talk to you.
Why are the black people not there? I think it's because they're scared to go there.
What if I put to you that they're scared of this group? How you doing, brother? You good?
Yes, thank you.
What are we here for?
Well, I'm not here for
anything. Oh, you're not here for anything?
No. Don't speak to him, guys. He's all right. Don't speak to him. I'm curious about what his arguments are.
Yeah, he doesn't know himself because it's so narrow. He won't budge. You can't let him speak. He's not. I don't know. He's a journalist. He works beside Robinson. I don't care what he is. His argument is about this wide. He won't broaden the argument to listen to anyone's comment.
Are you defending the actions of John Sweeney?
Straight away.
BBC does great journalism regardless of what you say. BBC tries to be impartial.
Can I ask you a quick question? Sure. So you're obviously advocating that we have more refugees. Do you feel the same about the white South African refugees? Should we be inviting them here as well?
No. Why aren't you hanging out with
with your Nazi mate over there?
Okay, so
must use preferred pronouns.
Here's where everything makes sense, because this is insanity. It really is. Let's listen to Ben Shapiro and see what he has to say.
As we are now being told, teaching kids that they must use preferred pronouns, or that men can become women, women can become men, sex doesn't exist, as a recent op-ed in the New York Times said. That's asinine, anti-scientific, and counterproductive.
So my main disagreement with you is on the subject of transgenderism. And what I've seen in the past is that you said one of your principal objections to the transgender movement is that you think accepting them into society won't necessarily help solve their problems. Is that like a fair characterization of what you say?
No, I mean, I think that I don't think it's fair in the sense that I think everybody should be treated with a certain level of dignity. But what I have said is that I don't think that the high transgender suicide rate is attributable to societal intolerance.
Okay, so I sort of disagree with, or I don't think the empirical evidence necessarily says that. I've seen studies from UCLA that have drawn different conclusions, but I realize if we disagree on the empirical evidence, not much can be resolved here tonight. So assuming that it would help to accept them more into society, would you change your position on transgenderism?
So the position on transgenderism I want to clarify so that I can tell you what I would change and what I wouldn't change. So what I would not change is the idea that you cannot force people to call you what you want to be called. That is anathema to a free society. I will also not change the idea that we should not indoctrinate children in blatant biological falsehoods like there's no such thing as male and female. I think it's very important that kids know there is such a thing as male and female, and that these are real categories, and that a man cannot become a woman and a woman cannot become a man. I think that confusing children about this stuff carries its own inherent dangers. Kids are easily confused and easily screwed up. So I think that would not change. I've also said in conversations with people like Blair White, who's a transgender woman, meaning a man who believes he's a woman, I've said to Blair, like, if we were at a restaurant or something and we were out to dinner together, I wouldn't go out of my way to call Blair White a he. I mean, presumably we'd be speaking in second person with one another. But at the same time, like, for the same reason that, you know, there are people in my life who do lots of things that I disagree with, and I don't feel it necessary to launch a conflict on the basis of that every time we meet. But that's a different thing than what the transgender rights movement is saying. What they are saying is that society should cram down on people perceptions about biology that are false, that we should treat it as bigotry if you use the actual biological pronouns for people. This is a form of bigotry and hate, which is nonsense. It's just something you don't like. There are lots of things I don't like. It doesn't mean it's a form of bigotry and hate. And that's where I stand on this. So again, I think that we should try to treat people with as much civility as possible. And in my position as a public figure, you know, I am very often speaking on the general kind of issue. I'm not speaking on one-to-one, you know, out to lunch or something. That's a little bit of a different thing. You know, when my child is 4.5 years old, right? She comes to me and she will say, Dad, I drew a picture. Do you think that it's good? And the answer is yes. I mean, I love my daughter. Sure, the picture is great. Now, if I'm an art critic, is that going to change my definition of good or art? No. I mean, if I were the art critic at the New York Times and I were reviewing my daughter's picture, I'd say this is garbage. It's not good at all, right? I mean, but my public position is that I am the art critic at the New York Times discussing issues of public importance and public policy. I don't think that it is the responsibility of other people to protect your fragile mindset. With that said, if people wish to do so out of a certain level of sympathy, I certainly don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, if you want to, in interpersonal connections, do that. But I think that teaching kids, as we are now being told, teaching kids that they must use preferred pronouns, or that men can become women, women can become men, sex doesn't exist, as a recent op-ed in the New York Times said, that's asinine, anti-scientific, and counterproductive.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so when you listen to that, here's the problem. I saw a graph that showed how many men or women are becoming homosexual. From 1970, it was like 4%, and then into the 90s, it was like 15%, and they're pushing 30% to 45% of homosexual. And I don't have a problem with that. The problem is that I'm worried about continuing the race of the human race. I look at China, and China had in the 80s, what they would do is they had one child rule. Now, in their culture, if you have a business and they have a capitalist, communist structured government, so that means that you were always an appendage of that government. So the problem kind of lies in I lost my train of thought now. That's horrible. I don't want to do that. It's an appendage of this, but when we're looking at this woke, it doesn't make sense, because I'm not going to have a child being confused. And in China, with the one child rule, now they have 1 million males at age 30 with one female opportunity that's inside there. Not only that, but now they have a river that is going to the south, which they use for watering in order to get food. So they're starting to have starvation. And they have the elderly, which they have to take care of. And they don't have enough bodies. They're looking at about a 10-year survival on their civilization, which means if you were going to do something, I said this 2 years ago, is that you're going to go after Taiwan. Now, in order to go after Taiwan, you're going to have some kind of a distraction against the Western, well, us. And Russia going after Ukraine because of NATO, which we did kind of poke the bear. We did put an ICBM launcher about 400 miles away from St. Petersburg. You know, if he came and put it in Canada and put 400 miles away from New York City, an ICBM nuclear warhead, we would have a problem with that too. So what are we creating here? And on top of that, we have to start looking at this woke community. Is they want to change our language. I'm not going to have a law that tells me what I can call somebody. If I feel comfortable calling somebody that, then I will. But other than that, I'm not going to go out of my way to say this they, it, MX, all sorts of crazy stuff. All sorts of crazy stuff. So, but we're gonna get back into woke, but we're gonna be jumping into some other things that that are important. Okay. So, what I want to do is go into.
Yeah, it's good.
I stayed home, smoked a little weed.
Okay, so this is really important. Now, this is because of the defense. And this is all going to come together. All right? But I want you to listen to what Joe Rogan says. Okay, so let me explain this a little bit so people can understand really what this means. When you sign this agreement, what it's doing is it opens up and it knows that you have Windows 11. It gives a remote access, and it allows them to view all files. Now, here's where the big security risk comes. because China, as I was speaking to, is a capitalist communist country. Now, you're an appendage of the government. And right now, we are looking at World War III. Cyber attack is going to be a very big, it's going to be bad. It's going to be infrastructure first, but here's the really bad part. Now, with this terms of agreement that you're signing, what it allows us to do is if you're on your computer, and let's say you go to your bank account, you type in your password. It takes a screenshot of everything you're doing. Not only that, if you have audio, it can listen. If you have a webcam, it can watch. Okay? So now it has your bank information. It can get into your account. It can transfer it out. So here comes, that's the worst. So they could take all the money. That seems like, I don't know, something they would do in cyber attack. But here's the biggie. So someone works for electric companies. Someone works for government, especially government. So they have a daughter or a son, and they're on TikTok. Well, they're on the Wi-Fi at home. Now, anything attached to that Wi-Fi, it can access keystroke, so any passwords. So if he works for the government and he is at home and he's doing work and he types in password, they now have the logon to the main server. And those hackers are good. They can start shutting things down. We need to get rid of TikTok. It has to go because it is connected to Wi-Fi everywhere. It can close down pipelines. It can close down electrical lines, the dams. We lose electricity. That means we lose food. Basically, they would bring us to our knees. And if they could take Taiwan, they also control 95% of the microprocessors, which is something we need. We need these desperately in order to build our military defense systems. So we're stuck in a bind. And now China is, they were sending parts, which probably meant that they were sending weapons. Because Russia really doesn't have bulletproof vests. They have plastic in there and all sorts of things that make it look like it. They're poorly trained. They're using weapons from 1919 sometimes. When people get killed, they just have to run up and grab the neck weapon because they don't have enough weapons. So it really showed the weakness of Russia. But now China has joined and they're sending weapons now. Now we are sending weapons to Ukraine. So what this really is a Cold War. We, as over the last 20 years, have really done a military coup to take over Ukraine. And we made it pro-Western. Now, people wanted to not get away from, Soviet Union, but now Russia. They wanted to be out. So the NATO, though, is trying to push all the way to that line. And that's what they're scared of. And China's fighting against that. So, but if China takes Taiwan, we are building right now our own microprocessing systems, I think in Arizona, but it's going to take 10 years. So we need to start severely preparing because World War III, I think in the history books, is going to show that it started when Ukraine went after Kiev, or I believe, Ukraine in general. But let's go ahead and let's listen to let's listen to the terms of agreement. So, but just keep this stuff in mind. And it also takes all your pictures. It can take anything that it wants, and blackmail. So if they want to blackmail you as individual hackers, they will blackmail you. Okay, so let's continue and let's take a listen, Joe here. Okay, now, and I also want you to keep in mind that information is the commodity that is the most valuable. It's the most valuable. It's you can steal personal identities. You can transport people illegally into other countries. Right now, the border's out of control. We have people, terrorist groups, members coming through, cartel members. There was a teenager that got caught with 5.5 pounds of fentanyl in Florida. Cartels killings have now happened in every state. The entire country has been taken over. So we have to watch this. Now China is also supplying secretly the fentanyl to the Sinaloa cartel. And the Sinaloa cartel, when they make these pills are like 40% fentanyl, which kill anybody. So they're not selling a drug to get high. What they're selling a drug to is to poison and kill as many gringos as possible. Now, that is actually a term I have heard from different documentaries. So, go ahead and hit the chat and view it and give me your opinion. But let's go ahead and let's listen to the rest of it. All right, guys. We're gonna go to the most important one. This is ridiculous.
I want to go talk to Peterson. Peterson, do you have any comments on the Nazi presence at your protest? The presence of Nazis and white supremacists assaulting people at your protest. Do you have any comment on that?
Yeah, I don't like Nazis.
Then why are you...
Why were they here? Well, how can I answer
Are there views in alignment with yours? At some point you have to realize...
That's a foolish question. Look, if you want to know what my views are...
I've watched all of your videos, yes.
Including...
Yes, I have.
Then why would you ask such a question?
Because this is my interpretation of your videos.
Apparently,
all of the people who arranged the protest against you watched all of your videos.
Do you want to disavow 150 videos on YouTube?
No, your lectures, which sparked the debate.
Okay. Do you want to disavow the support? Could you let me talk to her for a moment?
Don't call me that, please.
So, I have 150 lectures on YouTube. There's 500 hours of my views.
Do you really think that you're worth all of that time?
So look, I will answer your question, okay? I've studied Nazism for a very long time. It's been 4 decades, and I understand it very well. And I can tell you that there's some awful people lurking in the corners, and they're ready to come out. And if the radical left keeps pushing the way
that sounds very much like a
they're
threat.
going to come.
That sounds very much like a threat.
That
sounds very much like a threat. Would you like to disavow the physical violence? Trans people were physically assaulted at this rally in your name. Would you like to disavow that violence?
Yes.
So you wish that didn't happen, and you want to, and I'm going to post this online.
See, people are just stupid. They're just dumb. He did not invite.
I'm a person of color. I'm a person of color, and I felt very accommodating here. I felt like my voice. Thank you very much.
See, yes, thank you. Thank you.
You wanted to disavow, and this is the disavowal. I am not an advocate of violence. I'm speaking out the way I'm speaking out because I think this is a route to no violence. and violence is lurking, and you can say that that sounds like a threat.
There was
It's
no
not a
violence at our protest, though. There was violence at your protest. So what does that say about our views?
It's not my protest. You know, asking me continually freighted questions isn't very helpful if you actually want to have a dialogue. You have no idea if I'm your enemy. You have no idea about me.
You won't use my pronouns, so I'm pretty sure you're my enemy, yes.
Yeah, well, I know you think that, but I don't believe that using your pronouns is going to do you any good in the long run. I think it'll do quite the contrary. What?
I believe it too.
You are aware that
Yeah.
non-binary people are
That's probably
the
true.
American Psychological Association.
Is that your opinion?
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
It's about non-binary pronouns.
No, it's not.
Yeah, I'm
No, it's not.
I'm saying that that's what I'm about.
Were you there when I spoke?
I've been here for this whole thing.
Okay, well, I don't know that. It's a genuine question. Look, I think that's what's happening is that we're pushing over a line we shouldn't cross. The newest legislation is requiring people to use.
But you are aware that that's being put in place so that we can't get fired. We need to be written into the Canada human rights legislation, or we can be fired for our gender identity. Well, then why did you make a fucking video about it? I've been denied housing as a trans.
See, the problem is they want to tell me by law what to tell something that is scientifically wrong. Biologically, you're this. It's. I guess what my solution would be, hey, what's your name? And then when I get their name, I only call them by their name. I don't know this. I don't understand this thing. MX. I don't understand any of it. I don't feel I should have to relearn a new language to do this. This is ridiculous. So let's continue watching this. And you know what? And Jordan Peterson is a great man, very intelligent. And he's been doing a lot of work with the government, and I'm glad he does. Let's continue watching this.
These rights would protect me.
Denied housing? I've been denied housing. From the state or for the open market? So have you been denied housing, like, from the government?
It's illegal either way if we had human rights.
From the government? Or have you tried to get a house like everybody else and they said, no, you're weird, you can't work? No, if the state has done that, that's a problem. But if someone doesn't want to live with you, that's their right.
They said, no, you're trans. So no, if I had human rights, that wouldn't have fucking happened.
You're weird. I don't want to live with schizophrenic.
No one said you were trans. That's why you can't get a loan.
But you don't want us to have protections in the human rights bill that will allow me to have employment.
That was created.
Allow me to have medical care. That's what this is about. It's not about infringing on your rights or making you learn a new fucking pronoun.
I don't think that's what it's about. What evidence do you have that attempting to transform the way that people use pronouns is going to produce a positive effect?
Because are you aware that
Right, exactly.
he killed himself in psychiatric care recently because he was continuously being misgendered by his care workers?
And that is my precise problem.
And there have been multiple recorded instances of trans people killing themselves because they are not being integrated into society. We are not.
Okay, I'm going to stop right there. In my belief, we can have a cancel culture. Okay, you can cancel me, whatever you want, but I'm going to be realistic. But to me, it seems like when people become transgender, they may feel that way when they're very young. But I saw a woman that she went through transgender reassignment at 13, and she said she felt like a boy at that point. But once she hit puberty and puberty started going, she had already started with this treatment. She said it was the biggest mistake she had ever made in her life, and she found that she had mental illness and depression and body dysphoria. So we need to treat this as it is possible that somebody does feel to be female, but we also need to realize that there could be really something that is a mental condition that is causing this problem. I believe in 1950, the government should have spent hundreds of millions of dollars building mental health facilities all across the country. And I know this because I have bipolar disorder. It would have really helped out. Okay, let's continue.
Not looking for special treatment. We are looking to be able to integrate ourselves into society. And if you refuse to refer to us by our pronouns, which is not allowed to ask, singular they pronouns go all the way back to Shakespeare. It's not a new thing. If you refuse to let us integrate ourselves into society, you create alienation that results in suicide. We are in a suicide epidemic right now. What are you contributing to this?
That suicide mostly comes from the mental anguish that a lot of them feel because of the mental disability that they're having and that they're not seeking treatment for. It's almost like people with bipolar often will chase drugs, and they'll use the drugs to change their mindset so that they feel more normal. This is the same kind of concept. They're not getting full treatment, and it's something that needs to be addressed.
Psychologist.
Man, you're almost impossible to talk to. You're so full of rhetoric that it's impossible to listen to you. I would be more than happy to listen to you.
Yeah, really.
I was devoid of rhetoric. And I don't really think I am a rhetorician. Just so you know that. And it's very hard to listen to you. I mean, it's very hard to attend to you
because
you rattle on with your ideological speech.
It's not ideological. It's personal. That's what
It's not personal. You haven't said a personal thing.
I'm talking about something that affects my community.
It's just that when you say the things that you say, it tends, even if you didn't mean it to, it attracts people like neo-Nazis and fascists because they see an avenue in what you're saying to do what they want. Even if that's not what you meant, they see an avenue in your in the idea of like a more abstract form of free speech. They see an avenue in that to continue to spread their hateful ideology and to make more people hateful. So that's why the Nazis come here. I just wanted to make sure that you knew that's why that was.
I'm perfectly aware of that.
I have a calm, rational question.
Okay.
I won't get emotional with you. Who is this legislation harming? Who is
harming anybody who wants to use their own words?
So in what capacity? Be specific.
Look, it's important that people are able to use their own words.
Okay.
Because that's how we think. And if the government starts legislating how we think, and
so if I wanted to call you she, I'm playing off of what you're saying. If I wanted to call you she and her and miss, because that's my freedom of speech, and if everyone just called you that all the time, and that was the only thing.
Can't you tell?
I think that you don't care because you've never had to face that. And it's
these people.
Who've never had to face like transgender related discrimination, that you think it's not a big deal because you don't have to deal with it.
I didn't say I didn't think it was a big deal. I said I didn't care if people called me that.
Public institutions, but it does prevent us from accessing healthcare. It does prevent us from accessing other services.
I'm not arguing about your rights.
Yes, you are.
Yes, you are. These things about our rights.
I'm sorry. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you realize that right now, if you were to kill a trans person, because only for the sole reason that they're trans, that would not be considered a hate crime. Sure, they could be convicted of murder, but not of a hate crime. And that's what this bill.
That's what this in the States, they can use a trans man to defend almost all of the United States and get off by claiming temporary insanity because they were freaked out by the trans person.
I am not claiming for a moment that people who don't fit into standard and traditional sexual categories or sexual identity categories don't face all sorts of trouble. They do.
Now, do you notice how they try to attack them with things that make really no sense? Isolated incident that possibly somebody had killed somebody that was a transgender person, and it could have been because of that reason. But you got to remember that people kill people over race. People kill. I mean, there's a lot of reasons, and just because someone's trans doesn't mean they weren't carrying $4,000 in cash on them. and that's why that's why the money was stolen. It comes down to that, but what we're talking about is freedom of speech. I can't change my vocabulary. My vocabulary is not going to change to appease you. That to me is nonsense. I'm going to call you by name, I guess, if I can remember it. And if I can't remember it, I'm going to say, hey, you. And if you're offended by hey, you, then I'm going to have to tap you on the shoulder. But then you're going to be offended that I touched your shoulder. It's sexual harassment. So, I mean, I want to go back to college. I'm disabled right now. I want to go back to college, but man, am I scared. I feel like I can't say anything. I'll be kicked out very, very soon. Let's go ahead and listen to see what other ridiculous attacks they throw at them that make no logical sense.
Just don't think that this is the way to fix it. In fact, I think
you do not think that a law that legislates protections from discrimination for trans people
not
is a way to, you do not think that.
That's right. I don't think.
Have you read the laws are intentionally worded?
Bring as many
Most laws involving human rights.
Much trouble to as many people as possible.
What would we gain from that?
There is a conspiracy of intent.
I didn't say it was a conspiracy.
You think there is a concentrated effort behind these bills in order to specifically make the lives of people worse, and that's why we create human rights legislation to make it.
I think that people often do things to make other people's lives worse. Don't you?
Well, clearly, as an example of this rally.
I am probably the most fervent anti-statist you will ever meet. I am an anarchist, and I do not believe that anyone who writes legislation has the interest of anybody but themselves and their special interest groups at heart. So don't come at me.
Now, I can believe that. In a the government very much make their policies to work in the stock market to do insider trading. Nancy Pelosi is, and pretty much all of them.
Pronouns are too much to ask for you to show solidarity towards those people. Sorry.
Look, we agree that this is a thing that's happening. We agree that it's a reprehensible thing that's happening.
Okay, sure, let's agree on that.
I mean, I don't think that would be controversial to most people. I mean, apparently,
I agree.
Apparently, some people think. Apparently, to some people, we're freaks because we can't have families or whatever. But
You're not freaks.
maybe that's not something you agree with. I don't know. I'm not going to.
You can live the way you want.
What I fail to understand is how you honestly feel, in your expert opinion, as both an educator, as an educated person, that not calling somebody by a pronoun that has been used to refer to individual people.
No, I think it's legislating it. It's legislating it as a necessity that I have an objection to.
Okay, so if there was this legislation was not on the table, if this legislation fails, let's say, if this is removed, you would be totally fine referring to me with they them pronouns.
Probably not they and them.
Probably not they and them. Why is
No.
that?
Well, because I don't think it's a tenable solution.
I don't think it's what?
It doesn't make sense.
To the problem that you're trying to solve. I mean, it's not. Look, it's not that easy to try. I know that's how you.
You were literally saying you can make up a word and make that a child's name, and you would refer to them by that name. Why is it different for a pronoun?
Because we're using the English language.
It's different because it's a pronoun for a lot of reasons. I mean, one of the reasons it's different is that pronouns turn out to be very difficult to change. They're closed linguistic.
Which is why we're using they them pronouns, which has historical continuity.
Yeah,
it is in the English language. It's in the Oxford English Dictionary.
It's nothing new.
As an educator, okay, hold on. Sorry, yeah.
You were asked, would you refer to me using they them pronouns? You said, no, I wouldn't. When asked why, you said, because I don't think it's a solution. When I brought up then it was basic respect and so on, what you said was, oh, I wouldn't do it if I was like coerced or whatever you said. Somebody literally just asked, would you do this for me? And you said, no, I would not show you that respect. I would not extend that amount of dignity to you.
That's not what he said at all.
You said that you would not use they them pronouns for a person.
Yeah, he said you would use they and that. They and that. Come on.
What makes you think? What makes you?
I just asked, would you refer to me if it wasn't for this law? And I asked you to refer to me with they them pronouns. Would you? And your answer was no.
Not if I was compelled to.
But we're saying if you weren't.
You said no, and then when I started asking you about, you said it wasn't a solution. When you were asked, What is it not a solution to? You said something vague. We said it's about basic respect, and then you said not if I was compelled to. So no, when you were just asked, as a matter of respect, in fact, would you refer to a trans person who asked you to use they, them pronouns, a pronoun which has a several hundred-year historical...
But that's not what we're talking about.
Yes, it is, because it's legislation.
We're saying if it wasn't legislation.
I've got to stop, guys. Look, there's too many of you.
Okay, one simple question.
I've had enough. Sorry, I can't do this.
See, he's got to stop the stupidity. The stupidity is too much. They don't really have a leg to stand on. It's just nonsense. It's a pity party. I'm not really sure what it is. You know what though? But we're gonna take a break right now. We're gonna come back, and you know what? I think we're gonna get into maybe some deeper stuff, and start looking at, well, maybe some haunting stuff, and also unexplained, and also the most important thing is Ukraine and how they're fighting in Chinese and how they're moving forward. We need to keep an eye on this. It's becoming critical, and I've been saying it for 2 years now. China has a problem, and we can go ahead and show it now. But right now, we're going to take a break. I'll be back shortly. And you know what? Get back on that chat and write in some concerns. Write in some questions. Let's talk about this. Let's open up the forum. That's what this is. This is for that. And you know what? I'm trying to hit some followers. You know, hit some followers. Hit that like button. Spread it out. We need to get this conversation started. But with just a moderate conversation, not so just poke the bear. With ridiculous, just ridiculous stuff. To what I'm hearing from these people. So, hit that subscribe, hit that follow, hit that bell, thumbs up. And we're going to take a break now. We're going to come back and we're going to go and review some more videos. And we're going to start looking deeper into what is really happening right now. 2023 is being crazy. Okay? Some natural disasters, some other things. Let's get into it. Okay, we are back. Thank you for being patient. Seems like my mic's a little bit on the gain side. I want it to sound as natural as possible. You know what? Can you guys give me a second? And I want to play with this little bit. Maybe it sounds a little better. Just like this. You know what? And I think it does. Maybe let's do the gain a little bit more. And you know what? Here we are. Okay. That's the limiter. Got it. Anyway, let's continue with Jordan Peterson. The attack on Jordan Peterson because he doesn't want legislation to tell him what he can say and what he can't say, which I think is absurd for them to want to do that. I would spit in their face. I would just a big old. Yeah, let's continue.
One simple question.
I thought we were statistically irrelevant.
Well,
yeah, I mean, like, I don't
If
exist.
a trans person asked you, would you please refer to me by they and them pronouns, would you refer to them by those pronouns?
Might depend on how they ask.
So no.
Why do you have the authority to determine
Please
whether or
refer
not
to me.
Why do I have the authority to determine what I say?
Why do
What
you have,
kind of question
Why do you
is
have
that?
the authority? Let me finish. Why do you have the authority to determine whether or not an individual is?
Why do they have the authority to tell him what to say?
Pronouns for me. What?
It would depend on what I
What
thought of your
hoops do you want us
motivation.
to jump through?
Those are my pronouns. Those are my
There's no
pronouns.
motivation.
No, I know. No one ever has any motivation.
We're
Those are
trying
my
to
pronouns.
survive. Politics are a product of our lives and us trying to live in this world. We're not trying to live in this world as a product of our
Do you want me to
politics.
send you
I was apolitical before I came out as trans. I got into politics because I needed to survive, to advocate against people like you, no offense. I have one question.
Oh, come on.
Okay, so they, them pronouns are written into the Oxford English Dictionary, the Merriam-Webster Dictionary. It's actually the word of the year this year. And it does have historical continuity all the way back to Shakespeare. It is objectively an English word, singular they pronouns, grammatically correct. Do you think that you can choose to not respect something that is in the English language as a professor, as an academic, that you are going to, that you are,
Absolutely. I am choosing to do that.
you're ignoring rules of the English language to go out of your way to disrespect students?
That's your opinion, and I'm not going
It is
to
my opinion.
disrespect students.
We're saying it's disrespectful
Anyway,
to us.
I'm sorry, guys.
You don't get to decide what's disrespectful to us.
I mean, that was just absurd. Was it not? I can't believe that just happened. I mean, this poor guy, highly educated, renowned scientist, with full understanding of human nature and the requirement that we need to hold a structure together and stop changing stupid, trivial things. We have much bigger problems. And this is only creating more separation. Basically, how it's turning out is we have created silos of Republicans and Democrats. These silos have stacked up. There is no communication. The floor is not open to have rational conversation. This is a big problem. Without this, we start looking at civil war. And we saw this with Antifa. People were being arrested with rifles and knives and were planning attacks. Were infiltrated by the FBI. And also some independent journalists. So this is something very serious in society that we need to really pay attention to. Okay, so we're gonna look at some other thing. Okay, I want to hear Ben Shapiro's on this. All right. This is gonna be important too because Ben Shapiro has a little bit different, more conservative. Oh, what happened there? Okay. Let's try that again. There we go.
I think that teaching kids, as we are now being told, teaching kids that they must use preferred pronouns, or that men can become women, women can become men, sex doesn't exist, as a recent op-ed in the New York Times said, that's asinine, anti-scientific, and counterproductive.
That's dangerous, is what it is. You're causing
So my main
dysphoria.
is on the subject of transgenderism. And what I've seen in the past is that you said one of your principal objections to the transgender movement is that you think accepting them into society won't necessarily help solve their problems. Is that like a fair characterization of what you say?
No, I mean, I think that I don't think it's fair in the sense that I think everybody should be treated with a certain level of dignity. But what I have said is that I don't think that the high transgender suicide rate is attributable to societal intolerance.
Okay, so I sort of disagree with, or I don't think the empirical evidence necessarily says that. I've seen studies from UCLA that have drawn different conclusions, but I realize if we disagree on the empirical evidence, not much can be resolved here tonight. So assuming that it would help to accept them more into society, would you change your position on transgenderism?
So the position on transgenderism I want to clarify so that I can tell you what I would change and what I wouldn't change. So what I would not change is the idea that you cannot force people to call you what you want to be called. That is anathema to a free society. I will also not change the idea that we should not indoctrinate children in blatant biological falsehoods like there's no such thing as male and female.
No, that's exactly correct. That is exactly
that a man cannot become a woman
correct.
And a woman cannot become a man. I think that confusing children about this stuff carries its own inherent dangers. Kids are easily confused and easily screwed up. So I think that would not change. I've also said
Create mental disorders.
A transgender woman, meaning a man who believes he's a woman. I've said to Blair, like, if we were at restaurants or something and we were out to dinner together, I wouldn't go out of my way to call Blair White a he. I mean, presumably we'd be speaking in second person with one another. But at the same time, like, for the same reason that, you know, there are people in my life who do lots of things that I disagree with, and I don't feel it necessary to launch a conflict on the basis of that every time we meet. But that's a different thing than what the transgender rights movement is saying. What they are saying is that society should cram down on people perceptions about biology that are false, that we should treat it as bigotry if you use the actual biological pronouns for people. This is a form of bigotry and hate, which is nonsense. It's just something you don't like. There are lots of things I don't like. Doesn't mean it's a form of bigotry and hate. And that's where I stand on this. So again, I think that we should try to treat people with as much civility as possible. And in my position as a public figure, you know, I am very often speaking on the general kind of issue. I'm not speaking on one-to-one, you know, out to lunch or something. That's a little bit of a different thing. You know, when my child is 4.5 years old, right? She comes to me and she will say, "Dad, I drew a picture. Do you think that it's good?" And the answer is yes. I mean, I love my daughter. Sure, the picture's great. Now, is that, if I'm an art critic, is that going to change my definition of good or art? No. I mean, if I were the art critic at the New York Times and I were reviewing my daughter's picture, I'd say this is garbage. It's not good at all, right? I mean,
Right.
My public position is that I am a critic at the New York Times discussing issues of public importance and public policy. I don't think that it is the responsibility of other people to protect your fragile mindset. With that said, if people wish to do so out of a certain level of sympathy, I certainly don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, if you want to, in interpersonal connections, do that. But I think that teaching kids, as we are now being told, teaching kids that they must use preferred pronouns, or that men can become women, women can become men, sex doesn't exist, as a recent op-ed in the New York Times said, that's asinine, anti-scientific, and counterproductive.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, guys, just give me a second. I'm just doing a quick delay check. Okay. Um, let's go ahead. And I want to move to something else. Now, this is something to me is pretty important. Let me make sure I got everything that I need here. I like a little music. What's going on with my music, huh? It just kind of disappeared. Interesting. That's all right. We might not need music. Okay, let's go to the next thing. Let's see what else we got here. Okay, we went over return cervix on TikTok. Okay, if you didn't see it, very important. Get rid of it. If you are associated with anybody in government, with power plants, nuclear power plants, oil, infrastructure of any sort, accounting, Pentagon, obviously, anything like that. So if you're a child, do not have TikTok on the Wi-Fi network. It will record and it can go through and hack everything. So if China were to attack, one of their first attacks would be to go after your bank accounts, steal all your money, get into all government, shut down water, and you would basically be stuck. You'd no plumbing, no water, no electricity because they would shut down the electrical grid. They could overheat the nuclear power plants, cause Chernobyl, basically, which we have quite a few. So it's very important. TikTok needs to go. We need to put it through government. Needs to get out of here. That's it. So that's just another thing that needs to go. So, but looking at other things. I think this is pretty important.
Well, but while Biden's visit to the border is new, the problems at the border.
Okay. So let's take a look at this.
Well, but while Biden's visit to the border is new, the problems at the border have been going on for years. And of course, News Nation has been there to bear witness to much of it. Allie Bradley is in Yuma, Arizona for us. Allie, is Biden's visit too little too late for some of these border communities?
Yeah, so Nicole, out here in Yuma, a couple of small groups here, migrants from the Dominican just spoke with me that they're heading to Boston here. And this is, we're seeing a record number of migrants, men, women, and children already have crossed the U.S. southern border with Mexico since President Biden took office. So when he makes this trip to El Paso over the weekend, whether that visit will have an impact on future crossings remains to be seen.
Border Patrol agents chasing down migrants as tens of thousands make the trek from Mexico, Venezuela, Cuba, Nicaragua, and as far away as Russia, flooding the U.S.-Mexico border in a desperate attempt to enter the U.S. Hello, America. And the numbers are staggering since President.
Now, I want you guys to keep in mind that we're also finding terrorists coming in. We're finding Chinese nationalists, which could very well be spies. We don't know. We have teenagers that are coming over with cartels. We have assassins that are killing people. We have in California no fly zones. in the desert. Okay, and it takes an hour and a half for the police to get there. So we have cartels now running areas of California where there are no fly zones. So he has allowed the border to now allow the Sinaloa and the other four cartels to battle. Which, by the way, the weapons that they got were actually confiscated and sold from the United States government to the cartel. That's why they have 50 caliber sniper rifles. They have drones with bombs. This is a terrorist group. And for the White House to take months to really say this is a terrorist joke, it to me is a joke. It really should have been the American military and special forces should have gone in and started taking and burning everything and confiscating all the money and taking out the cartel and taking out not the head, but we're talking about taking about half. Okay, and then allowing the military, such as a national guard of the government, to start at the northern border, and start kind of fishing down south. And pushing out cartel members to take out the rest of them. To not make them a terrorist group when they're killing the highest death rate of 18 to 45 is from overdose of fentanyl. And some of these are just taking pills. They just thought it was a Xanax. It's really terrifying. And we need to stop it. We need to stop it now. Anyway, let's continue this.
President Biden took office, nearly 5 million illegal immigrants have crossed the U.S. border. According to U.S. Customs and Border Protection data, more than 2 million undocumented immigrants crossed into the U.S. last year. In November alone, a record 233,000 migrants were apprehended. That's an average of 6,500 border encounters per day. And in many cases, it's smugglers leading the way. Thousands of migrants paying big money to be led into the U.S., using holes, tunnels, and insufficient fencing to enter the country. Many hopping the fence to get to the U.S. on the other side. Arizona's governor resorting to using shipping containers to try to stem the flood of migrants into his state, entering through big gaps in the border wall. Some of those breaks in the fencing used to transport illegal drugs into the U.S. Border Patrol agents report a recent bust of more than 200 pounds of fentanyl. In pill form, that breaks down to more than 943,000 pills. At the same port of entry in Nogales, more than 15.75 million fentanyl pills have been seized this fiscal year, which just began October 1st.
And imagine,
Arizona officials saying at least half of the drugs making it into the country are flowing through Arizona's border at the hands of the cartels. And the crime doesn't stop there. Most of the migrants are processed with Border Patrol, who run biometrics, which includes fingerprinting and records checks. When it comes to certain criminal history, those checks are useless, and fugitives could be among those entering the U.S. And the crisis at the border made worse by a shortage of Border Patrol agents who are overwhelmingly outnumbered. Agents forced to focus more on processing and transporting migrants rather than patrolling the border. In an effort to beef up security, Border Patrol doubling the hiring incentive from 10,000 to 20,000 for new recruits, trying to get one step ahead of the influx of migrants who have been spread out across the U.S., sent by planes and buses to Chicago, New York, Denver, and D.C.
Now, Nicole, thousands of migrants are still actively being released into the United States, many of them with notices to appear or court hearings that might be backlogged out 2 to 5 years. And in part, the reason is because the immigration courts are experiencing such a massive backlog right now. We're looking at a whopping 2 million cases that are still sitting there. So that is part of those reasons why we are seeing these court dates so far out.
Well, and Allie, you cover the border. You have a chance to speak face to face with these Border Patrol agents. What are they saying ahead of the president's visit?
Yeah, a lot of them are saying, kind of how we started this, saying, is it too little, too late? They're kind of saying finally, but at the same time, they're saying they don't have really high hopes for the president's visit. One telling me, quote, I don't think he's going to see how bad it really is, and it'll still be status quo for him. So there's that one quote from a Border Patrol agent. The second agent I talked to said, quote, I am doubtful that the president, who has waited 2 full years since taking office to visit the border and whose policies switched the numbers from lowest illegal crossings ever to the highest ever in less than 12 months, could possibly have anything good to say. Now, all of these agents, I've talked to several today, they say they're pretty frustrated that it took him this long. And honestly, Nicole, they don't think a lot is going to come from it. And they're looking at these policies, and a lot of them look very similar to things that they've already been told that they're supposed to be doing.
And today's border report, yeah, we'll see what happens next week. All right, Allie, thank you.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased
All right, guys. So, you know, we're watching another part now. So we have all these immigrants coming across. Now there's another part of this. The cartel is actually coyote in these guys. You know, some of them are paying $36,000 to get over here and
all right, no end in sight to the crisis of the southern border. Check out these live pictures. These are drones coming in from Eagle Pass, Texas. Seeing huge groups of migrants there crossing into Texas as we speak. Some 13,000 migrants in the past week alone. Bill Malugin is reporting live there in Eagle Pass. But they're being forced by guns.
And the reason why they do this is because they overwhelm the resources.
Sandra, good morning to you. Just moments ago, we witnessed.
And when they overrun resources, there's not enough people to obviously get all the people. So when that happens, at a different part, they transfer over. That's when they're transferring all the drugs, all the cartel members, and all the assassins, and all the weapons, and then they transfer back. Generally in vehicles hidden in very smart spots. I saw one in a transmission casing once. And they drop it back, and that's to drive the cash, and they do it at the same time. They're forcing these people across, and they're often making them drugs, and they drop them off at stash houses on the opposite side. So opening that border is just a horrible idea. Trump is right. I don't agree with all of his things. I don't agree with either of the politicians and all of their thoughts. But building a wall was the correct. That's the correct thing to do. And we kind of just lost on that. So that part kind of sucked. It kind of sucked. Yeah, I didn't really care for that too much. So, but anyway, let's go ahead and watch the rest of this.
This absolutely enormous single group of migrants crossing illegally here into Eagle Pass, Texas. You can see the size of that group from our multiple live cameras just down the road from us. Hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of people. And as you mentioned, the Del Rio sector where we are has been getting absolutely hammered, averaging almost 2,000 illegal crossings every single day. As of Monday, their Border Patrol holding capacity here was 200% over what their normal capacity should should be. But let's show you as this group was actually crossing. Take a look at this video as they got into the water. We first saw this group moving through the trees on the Mexican side of the river, and we knew a huge group was coming based off the amount of people we could see. Eventually, they got into the water, led by multiple suspected cartel guides or scouts leading them across. This crossing went on for about 10 minutes. They were in the water. An absolutely enormous group crossing over in broad daylight. There were no border patrol here when they first crossed over. You can take a look at this video we shot with our drone once they started getting over to the U.S. side. At first, there was only one single Texas National Guard Humvee parked there before a border patrol van started arriving. But this was about as blatant of a cartel smuggling operation as you are going to see. This was a massive group of several hundred that was moved across the border in broad daylight. They continue to pick and choose different spots along the border to do this, but you could see just how massive that group was as it came across. And back out here live, it is a huge drain on Border Patrol resources when a group like that comes across. They have to pull agents off the front lines to do paperwork, processing. Remember, the temperatures out here are supposed to hit about 108 degrees today. It just goes to show you this border crisis is not seasonal. It does not slow down in the heat. The migrants are not listening to Kamala Harris when she says do not come. And most of all, when the administration says the border is closed, you take a look at the video and judge for yourself. We'll send it back to you.
Okay. Bill Melugin reporting down there on the border for us. Bill, thank you.
Okay, I want to see. Okay, I want to see about taking the seer. I'm curious about polling statistics. About the crime rate. Oops, that's not what I wanted. About the crime rate that has risen in the southeast. I won't do this, right? Give me a second. Give me a second. There it goes.
Heard about that right now. Border agents say they stopped a member of the deadly MS-13 gang from sneaking into the U.S. But what about the criminal?
If you're not familiar with the MS-13, they're the most violent gang. When El Chapo was taken out in Sinaloa, he believed to never shoot up towns. Don't steal the personal old lady. Have parties for the town, and be more as their religious leader was, which was more like a Robin Hood, which is more likely not a true person. I can't remember his name right now. But that's who they worship. Now, when they took them out, these new cartels, they run like military. So they scare the people. It's all shoot up the buildings, steal the people. And now MS-13 is the most dangerous gang in America. And now we have just allowed them across the border. It's been free enterprise. So let's go ahead and let's watch this.
Criminals who are able to get through, the ones that are good at being deceitful. Our next guest knows all about it. His older brother Rocky was shot and killed by a criminal, an illegal alien at the time. That was back in December of 2018 after being arrested and released under California's sanctuary policy. Jody joined us right now. Jody, we're seeing these numbers, the staggering numbers of people coming through the border that we catch. What about the ones we don't? Before we get that story and your perception, tell us what happened to your brother.
Good morning. Thank you for having me, first of all. He was murdered in 2018 by an illegal criminal alien that was arrested 2 days prior because of the sanctuary city laws. He was released and shot and murdered by this criminal.
So he was, this guy's name is Gustavo Garcia. He was arrested on a drug charge, held in jail for about 10 hours. Then he was responsible for several shootings, 2 other murders, carjackings, multiple high-speed chases. So this guy's a true menace. He's hell on earth, and he's still here, and your brother isn't. When you hear about an arrest of two Yemeni terrorists, and then you hear about an MS-13 arrest, what are you thinking, along with the 19,000 unaccompanied minors who are just streaming into our country?
We absolutely have a crisis. All you hear is law enforcement agencies screaming for help, and there's nothing being done. We have a saying in law enforcement: if it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, it's not a cow, it's a duck. So don't sit there and tell me that there's not a crisis down at the border, because there is. All you have to do is listen and see to know that's a crisis. We had more illegal immigrants cross our southern border last month than ever before in history. Think about that. In history.
Right, and they blame
it's truly
right.
amazing what's going on down there.
And of course, the way it goes, and you would know this better than I, is that you send the families who are no threat, you send the kids who are no threat, the border agents go there, and then in comes MS-13 or the drug traffickers with the fentanyl that are poisoning the country. They think, well, I'm not in a border city, it doesn't involve me, but that's just not the case.
You're right, it isn't the case. Just think of.
Now, I want you guys to all keep in mind that this is an active war from China. China is sneaking in fentanyl. To my understanding, they're sneaking it in through submarines, and they're bringing them to the Sinaloa cartel. And they want to kill as many as they say gringos as possible. So this is another type of war. So they're doing this on purpose. That's not the only thing they're doing. The spy balloons. They're doing a lot of things. They did a cyber attack. They're preparing. And we need to start preparing. Something's gonna happen. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. This border being open, we're letting open the possibility being very vulnerable to the possibility of spies infiltrating our country or terrorists. There could be terrorists from Mexico that are native Mexican. So you know. This is troubling. This is troubling to me. Plus, we're also spending money giving welfare to them, and food stamps, all these things. We need to fix our infrastructure. We need to take care of the mental ill here. Take care of the soldiers with mental illness. There's so much here. With education, new books, and all sorts of stuff. Protection systems from EMPs over our electrical system. From a CME that comes from the sun, coronal mass ejection. We have all these things that we have to worry about, and yet we're just pity and overwoke, and the border. The border wall. It should have never been open. It should be do the paperwork. Let us vet you. And then you come over. And in my opinion, some people from other countries shouldn't be allowed. It should be closed border for right now. I think World War III is already started. Right now we're at a Cold War, and we're attached to Ukraine and sending arms. And China is attending arms to Russia. And this is the Allied axis. This is China, which might be North Korea, which also might be India that joins with them. With Russia. Now we have a world war. So we have to be careful. What's going on? And this crisis, all these things. We need to start paying attention to other stuff. Other medias, just other things. Let's go ahead and continue listening.
How many that's getting across and that's coming into our communities. It's really destroying our communities. We have here in California, SB 54. It really drove a wedge between law enforcement, local law enforcement, and immigration. It just stopped them from communicating with each other. Now we have proposed bills here in California. There's an AB 937. If you strip that bill away, really what it does is it just makes it impossible, against the law actually, to deport or remove any felon, illegal immigrant that commits a felony. You just can't deport them. It's insanity what's going on here.
But the HHS secretary was once a deputy HHS secretary. He knows how this works. He knows the need for ICE. Yet when it comes to sanctuary cities, what has ICE been told to do? Stand down or get out, right?
That's absolutely right. Their hands are tied. You could just look at the pictures of what's going down in the border. It's just like that in our communities. These felons are committing crimes. These illegal immigrants are committing crimes, felonies, getting caught with pounds of methamphetamines, weapons on them, firearms. Nothing's happening to them. I mean, they're doing literally hours in jail and getting released. You know, AB 54, the sanctuary city laws, immigration has to have a federal warrant to have these local law enforcement agencies hold them, and it's impossible to do that.
And they just don't seem to care. They don't seem to care.
That's sad. Look, I'm not a politician. I'm not a governor. I'm not a senator. I'm not a congressman. I'm a citizen. I'm an American citizen. And what's going on right now is they're protecting the criminals, illegal alien criminals. And when you start doing that, when you're protecting them, you stop protecting our community. You stop protecting our American citizens.
Jody Jones, this isn't red or blue. This is right and wrong. And what's happening now is flat out wrong. And that's what you're pointing out in memory of your brother. You're doing that. That's why you scrambled to get up this morning, Rocky, who was killed 2 years ago.
If I could say one last thing, please. I heard President Biden yesterday say that it's his job to protect the American people. Well, I want to say to President Biden, please protect the American people. Secure our southern borders. Do it now. Do it soon, because it's getting worse by the minute, by the hour, by the day.
Yep, and we can't even get the vice president to show up. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, guys. So this is just a little taste. My first episode here, so I'm hoping I can get some people viewed. You know, looking for some followers. Let's go for that 5. I got 3 of 5. I got 3 of 5. Let's get to 5. The tips. I put it on there. Obviously, you don't have to do it. I'm disabled, and I'm looking for a little bit extra cash just to live off of. But I want to offer you something, and a give and take. So let me work on that. But I want to end this on something fun. Okay, because this is something when I'm feeling down. This is something that
I'm Megan, and you're watching Disney Channel.
Go watch.
Porque te quiero.
Oh no. Don't do it. You know how, no matter how old I get, when you fall, it's funny. It's just funny. It's so funny.
I swear to God, I'll put you outside.
I just love it.
Three, 2, 1.
What happened there? What? Did he throw up on him? Oh shit! That's good. I like that. No, no. That's the worst. He's gonna spit at you. You're gonna get a loogie. Oh, no loogie. No loogie. Okay.
Para vos, mamá, que decía que en Mar del Plata no me iba a cocinar solo. Mirá.
What is that, armadillo? I can't tell.
Booty nose. No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Okay, what do you need? You want to put air? Well, how much air do you want to put in it? You feel like a flat. You need more than air.
Some people, man, with cars. I was a mechanic. We had 2 degrees in it. And I've seen some shit.
Hey, yo, bro, what's up? What's up, man? What's up? How are you doing?
Oh, that's gonna hurt. Can I have a spoon? Oh, he's gonna miss. He's gonna miss. Oh, shit.
If it's whatever. Jake, just came off the barbecue.
Dad.
What? Sweet.
Oh. Foot broken in half. Yeah, and that's what you do. How's a skateboarder? Then you throw it, and then you get the trucks later, and you take a cell phone down the grade. The worst of luck.
Pelan-pelan kan?
that. What is that?
Black eye, yeah. I didn't want to.
I don't get it, but okay. I don't know what happened there.
You turned him up. You turned him up.
Just get so much energy from his music. We step out of the Porsche and decide to.
What the?
Davis, what is this? What does this do in your fancy car?
Oh my gosh, I'm planning an airstrike!
Meta. Ush. Tamita.
That's not edible. Break the pan. Oh no, that works too. That works too. Damn.
I suppose for the camera.
Did I fucking good enough?
Yeah, we'll see.
School bus. School bus. You can't put hot water. It's got to be lukewarm. Ugh.
Klopt niet hoor.
Squeeze one side and then rotate it. Squeeze the other side. Well, that worked. That kind of shit happens in automotive shops a lot because we fuck around to see if we can make some new tools or some new projectiles and stuff that's fun.
Smells like a scream.
Take a Benadryl.
Oh, she's drunk. Come on, Leia. Come on, this.
She's drunk. She's drunk. She should take off the high heels. That might help. See, this is the sobriety test. The new one, the police gift. If you have to crawl to your car, you are over 0.08. Well, I got you here. Hit that follow, hit that bell, hit that thumbs up, and let's get this spread out there because I'm gonna start doing videos in different areas of more conflicting areas and some more journalism and actually researching about what's going on, because things are getting weird. Things are getting weird. But go ahead, hit that subscribe. We're going to get some video games in there, and we're also going to go into some deep thought. And you know what? Some of my favorite: quantum gravity, quantum mechanics, string theory, all sorts of stuff. Special theory of relativity, general theory of relativity. We can go into that. But you know what? You can even just write me a message of what you want to see, because you know what? Actually, I got a better idea. After this, it's going to be ghost videos and paranormal things caught, or at least strange creatures. And I'm going to see if I can find a program that will tell me if there's been any type of CGI manipulation done with any of it. And for Sleep Chase, favorite Windows OS. We like Windows 95. I haven't used Windows 95 since 1995. I don't like Windows 11. I'll tell you that. I don't like Windows 10. I would say I like Windows 7 the best. Why do you ask? Just curiosity. And where are you from? Maybe we do that. I'll even throw on. One of my epic fails. These are also fun. So, Sleep Chase, where are you from?
Il arrive.
Wow, putain ta mère. Wow,
And also, flip phones? I'll be honest with you, man. I love flip phones over smartphones. It's just I can't get one. They're more simple. they're more simple to use. Amarillo. Is that Texas? I'm not great on geography, to be honest with you. So you gotta help me out. They can't triangulate your movements. Well, technically they still very much can, because you need 3 satellites in order to ping. So they definitely can locate you. The only way they can is if you remove the battery, and pull the SIM and break the SIM card. That is the only way that they can do that. Yeah, you know what? That is fun. That is fun. When you can flip it real fast and be like, fuck you. You know what I'm saying? um, but yeah, we're going over this woke thing. I'm just curious. What age are you around? You don't got to tell me exact, but what age are you around? I'm 38. And I gotta tell you, I'm disabled right now, but I'm trying to figure out a way to be able to work. And this is partially like a hobby, And if I can do this, then maybe I can do real work. Or maybe this could turn into work. I just need to be able to make a certain amount of money, but I want to offer something that people enjoy watching, you know? But I think we're going to go into haunted stuff too. What do you guys think about that? That's also cool too. Oh, and by the way, flip phones suck because you drop them and you break the screen constantly. I've broken about 7 or 8 of them. Well, here's the question. Why would you be being tracked? I mean, we're all being tracked. So unless you use a VPN and this computer, you're being tracked right now as you speak. And a VPN, I don't even know if that would still lock them out. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to still play this here because I want to see some people. Really? You know what? I suck at painting houses. I've tried painting interior of houses, and I failed so bad, I actually walked out and quit my job. Because I am horrible of it. My bipolar makes it so I can't concentrate, and I mess up. I get paint on the windows, on the floor. It's a big mess, man. Yeah, it's easy for you. But there's a lot of stuff that's easy for me, though, that's hard for other people. Like mechanics is very easy for me. Other people don't understand it. Science is easy to me. And a strong stomach and soft eyes. What does that mean? What is it because it burns? I don't understand. Oh man, that water's got to be cold. Yeah, I was an electrician. I'm good at being an electrician. You know what, though? I have guilt. I'm disabled and I'm unable to work for myself, and I feel guilt all the time that I'm not able to have a continuous job. So, guilt is quite an overpowering and shitty thing. So I feel for you, brother. Or sister, or whatever woke terminology is preferred, I guess.
Who is this chick that's texting you? Who is she? Who is she?
What's wrong with my face? What's wrong with my face? I'm gonna go to the hospital.
I just feel guilty walking away from someone after taking them out. I'm not sure I'm understanding what you're getting at. Oh, you were in war. A Marlowe. Let me look that up.
Don't make this mistake ever. They put 231 liters.
Yeah, Amarillo, Texas. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. Oh, you put down Texas. I just looked down. So when you used to serve in the war, so you're a vet. Is that what you're telling me? You're a vet? Well, okay. I do have a question for you, and I don't mean it to be insulting, but do you feel that there were weapons of mass destruction there, or if millions of Iraqis had lost their lives and friends and soldiers had lost their life for more political gain instead of more humanitarian rights and trying to, because we tried digging wells and then the Taliban would just blow them up. So we tried, but how much of that do you think was political driven? How do you feel about that? And I don't mean to insult. I really don't. It's a curiosity. That's too bad. That really is too bad. I really feel for you, ma'am. Now, when you say the Taliban people, now, I don't understand I guess what you would call the CIA intelligence on Taliban, but are they not Taliban considered a terrorist group? Or is Taliban a type of people that have been infiltrated by a Taliban groups by the Al-Qaeda? Okay, freedom fighters. So it's more of a civil war. They went against Americans.
Honk just married. Don't mind if I do.
So, but how do you feel? Do you feel there was? Oh, so that's the reason why they were there. Okay, that would make sense. I don't necessarily trust my government and what they tell us. So I'm sorry that happened to you. That's rough. Especially when there's a lot of good people over there that are just stuck in a really horrible situation. But we do have to vet everybody. It's unfortunate that you have children, they can't come now.
Cuando el entrenador se descuida por un segundo.
No, I'm not really worried. I feel like that you're probably a pretty straight, narrow guy that goes to work and has a family. Well, because maybe I'm confused though. Did you come back by yourself or did you stay there? So that's unfortunate. So you have to do long distance for your wife and your child.
You're actually pretty good. Hey, calm down. Calm down. Ow. Yeah, how'd that feel? Ow! My pinky! Ow! Ow! Okay.
I mean, do you stay in contact? Since 75 what? Oh, what do you mean? 1975? I don't understand because you were on 2 tours, 75. I'm a little confused. Okay, this is well before. So the American government's been attacking, trying to steal natural resources for a long time.
What does it say?
That doesn't surprise me. But they are trying to do a lot of good here and there too. It's just, how much bad can you do before you do so good?
Let's get it.
But as Americans, we need to start being more informed and voting more and knowing the laws that are being passed on a weekly basis. And no more insider trading. You shouldn't be able to trade. Husband, wife, family, going. Yeah, well, I'll tell you, when I was 22, I was in tip-top shape. I mean, I was ripped. I am now 37 and I broke my back in 2 spots. I have metal and screws in my ankle. I have severe nerve damage. So believe me, that 20 to 40, you don't think it's that bad. And then it happens. And everything hurts. So, yeah. I understand. I understand, man. Now it's just kind of like put your hand out like this. Someone just dump pills in there and then you just throw, and whatever sticks in your mouth, you drink, and that's your dosage. That's the dosage. All right?
Siempre tiene que tener el pulgar arriba, porque se puede piantar el tapón y ahí hacemos un desastre. Luego hacemos
But I want to keep in contact.
De rotación sostenido, dejamos salir un poquito ese gas.
Yeah, well, soldier skills would come in contact just with the ability to start and end a project and do it with common sense. You know, A, B, C, D, all the way through Z, and now the deck is complete, whatever, or the house is painted. That's how people should think. They don't think that way. I think that way. Everything in steps. Well, here's the thing. I like talking to you. I would like to see you sub. Would you go ahead and sub? Hit a like, thumbs up, spread this video a little bit. I'll put it on YouTube. Oh, Hitman work? Well, Hitman work is, hey, don't give me too much information. Just, you know, well, just remember this. Don't give me too much information. I didn't see that last part. We'll just see if we can. I don't know how to delete it, but Okay, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. I think if it's bad people, like terrorists, yeah, I think it's okay. I think if it's cartel assassins, I think sure that's good. Large amount meth. Yeah, just they have to be the worst of the worst human beings. You know, sexual predators that have been doing it, kidnapping, rape. Well, local crews, but that's still it's kind of like when I used to work in Chicago. Is if you're not in their world, then they won't mess with you. For instance, there was a guy that was in a gang and he shot a police officer. Once the gang leaders found out he shot a police officer, he says, "You guys are not in our world, so don't shoot police officers." So they gave up the person that shot the police officer. So if you're in that world, you must have done something wrong, and there's rivals. So that's the way it is. Well, I would suggest getting into a different line of work, but, to each their own. But hey, thanks for the sub. I still like talking to you. But you know what? We're going to start having conversations about what's going in the world, the crazy stuff. Next, I think I'd really like to see some paranormal stuff. Get a little bit of a jolt to the heart, little jolt. But yes, definitely, let's spread this around, okay? Thanks. I'm gonna be out right now, and we will see you later. This is Cerpo checking out. And hey, Sleep Chase, thanks for the sub, and we will see you next time. All right, peace.